everyone, my name is Zach REDRUP, this is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by 156 Silence vocalist Jack Murray. The band have just dropped a brand new album called People Watching, so we discussed putting that together, its creepy and unsettling artwork, going more melodic vocally, being inspired by soundtracks, plans for future music already, and loads more. Before we get into it, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast, please consider taking a few seconds of your time to support it. You can hit subscribe or follow wherever you're listening to or watching this so you don't miss out on any future episodes. You can leave a review or a comment. You can give the podcast a follow on social media, and there's also a Patreon and a web store if you did want to go one step further. You can find all the links to everything that I've just mentioned in the description of the episode, or you can head to itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now that's done, here's my chat with Jack from 156 Silence. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the It's Not a Phase podcast, where I'm joined by Jack from 156 Silence. How you doing, man?
What's up?
Yeah, like I said, appreciate you coming on. But obviously, like the big news for you guys is brand new album, People Watching, that's out now via Sharp Tone Records. I mean, at least from my side, it seems like it's been doing really well. I don't know what the reception's been like on your end.
It's been excitingly well received for us, and we are just very happy and grateful that everybody has only mostly said good things to us about it. So
Yeah,
we are very grateful.
yeah. It seems like it's just like, yeah, just soared. I mean, I think I saw in one of your other interviews or something, you said like there was, I can't remember which single it was, but you had like the highest streams on that day alone, like in your history. So I
Yeah,
imagine on
each
album release day, just that went
it
even
was
further.
it was an explosion. Yeah, every single we put out so far has been the biggest release date we've had. So that's been up until the album, which was by far the biggest.
Yeah, yeah. So everyone's digging it clearly. Yeah,
It seems like that. I'm very grateful to have gotten the response that we have, because we were very nervous. You know, it's a bit of a change of what we've usually done in the past,
yeah,
and I think that people are, I don't know, adjusted to it or just like excited that we're trying something new.
yeah, yeah. Would you know, referring to like the album title, do you do much like people watching yourself, like when you're sat at like a restaurant or something and
Yeah, of course.
seeing
Yeah,
people walk by? Yeah,
just stare at people. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Where I can, I'll try and get a window seat just so I can be nosy.
yeah. One of the things I used to do in college, when I did go to college for a semester, I would sit on the bench outside and just watch people walk by.
Yeah, yeah. What did you do at college?
Nothing. Was a beat off.
People watched.
Yeah.
Well, I believe the album was mostly written in 2022, and then you recorded it last year. So you guys have been sitting on this for a little while.
Yeah, it's been a long anticipation of trying to get it out and released, and we been a long year of just waiting, just playing the wait game, not touring, just waiting to tour off of this album, and it's finally here, and it feels fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the payoff must be amazing, but I think that during that time must have been just so like just frustrating that you've got all this music that you're so excited to share with people and play live, and you just can't. You just gotta sit there.
Yep, we have a whole nother album already written as well that
Oh wow.
we're already feeling that feeling for. So
Wow. Is that like how do you kind of do that then? Because like I guess with the last album and this album, you've got this big period between where you've got a whole other album's worth of material sitting there. Does like obviously kind of your taste and stuff change over time? Does like the live experience of the album you're focused on at that time kind of then sometimes influence the material that's kind of sitting there waiting to be recorded?
yeah, I would say so. But we for people watching, we haven't played any of that stuff live up until this tour for anybody.
Yeah.
So it didn't really, like, this album we already have is already done. I don't think it really had much of an influence on this one, like it did past ones that we
Right.
have released.
Right.
Because like this one, we just never stopped. Like Jim, especially, he writes all the instrumentals and I do all the lyrics and vocals. But once he finished People Watching, he just kept going and he wrote a whole album. So I'm finishing that lyrically now,
right.
but it's all demoed out and ready to go.
Wow, you guys don't stop.
He's a machine, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool, man. Well, I believe one of the songs from the album Better Written Villain wasn't that. I think it had like initially a different ending, but then when you got into the studio, you rewrote it quite a bit towards the end.
Yeah, it initially had a quieter, slower part, not nowhere near as large, and I think that it was definitely one of the more challenging parts in the studio, because we pretty much everything that we wrote going into the studio stayed the same except for that. There were added adjustments here and there and added parts, different riffs here and there, different soundscapes, but that ending part especially we wrote entirely in the studio, and that turned out to be one of my favorite parts on the album.
Right. Well, what kind of spurred you to with that song specifically to do such a rework? Was it just that you weren't too happy with the song?
It felt like it was too similar to a song off of Narrative,
Right.
and we didn't want to, I don't know, do the same thing again or be, you know, what's the word I'm thinking of? Expected.
Right. And I guess as well, like, I mean, the other songs you'd already wrote for that album, maybe that kind of informed how that change would have gone, like so it fit better in the album.
Yeah, it was like it was either going to be a breakdown or something else. So
Right.
we didn't want to do a breakdown. Wanted to do a big part.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes huge. So I think you met the mission objective there with that one.
Thank you.
Well, I think what else kind of like helps you guys stand out is with like your vocal cadence and your delivery. I think it's kind of like unique within the metalcore scene. Are there any bands or artists or vocalists in particular that kind of inspire you in terms of how you deliver the vocals, like how you give them like the rhythm in like the way you deliver them or anything like that?
I mean, I grew up listening to like a lot of hip hop. Um, I listened like a lot of new metal. So like I feel that I prioritize flow the most, and then after it sounds cool, make sure it means something.
Right.
So like I definitely prioritize the flow. Like I listened to all kinds of rap growing up in the early 2000s, and that's new metal as well. So I kind of have that rap influence that I wouldn't say I rap my vocals, but I have that kind of flow.
Yeah, like the rhythm is in consideration when you're kind of putting it together.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess that comes into consideration first, just so you kind of know like the pattern of how it's going on the song, and then I guess you have like the
I just
maybe some
punch the
lyrics you've
words
already
in.
got written, or you write it as part of like whatever the sound of the song is like, what inspires you from that.
Basically, yeah.
Right, right.
And every song is different. Every process is different. Everybody has a different process.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to figure out my best process, but for me, mostly I listen to the song a million times until I can hear it without listening to it, and then I can punch it in here and there, different phrases and words.
yeah. Well, I guess that's like you say, it's a process that will no doubt change over time, but also vary song to song, right? Like you might hear a part of a song and instantly something comes to you, whereas other
Exactly.
parts kind of like maybe you need to write something at another bit, and then that kind of informs the next bit. Like, oh, if I lead from here into this bit, that's what makes sense most, I guess.
And when I get stuck, I stop and I come back to it. I don't rush songs. I hate rushing songs because then I'm never happy with it. So if I get stuck, I'll take a month or weeks, whatever it takes, to just like find that rhythm and flow of getting into that set of mind, I guess.
Yeah. Does the live experience also come into that, especially with obviously this new album? You've got a lot more melody and clean singing in there. So I guess when you think, oh, how am I gonna also pull this off live, going from one extreme to the other, I suppose.
Yeah, well, this tour especially has taught me that I really need to prioritize my breathing, my breath control, my heart rate, just like not going too hard, not trying to fill in too many words in one song like I used to,
Yeah.
and giving more parts to Ryan and Lucas to do as well, to give myself a break into like leading into the chorusy shit that I have to sing, because that's all so new to me still. Like
Yeah.
I've never done screaming into singing like I do on this new album. So it's definitely the biggest challenge I've had so far is being able to do this stuff live.
Yeah. Do you
But
have
I
to?
can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you have to like consider the set list then in terms of when you do that? Like you don't want to
absolutely.
go from
Yeah.
like a super intense song to one where it's like a lot of
Yeah.
clean
We
vocals.
put breaks in between the
Right.
songs that I need to catch my breath before a clean, like product placement has a nice little breather before we start it, so I can take a sip of water, catch my breath if I need to.
Collect
We
yourself.
They give me that throughout the set, definitely. And I also make sure to tell them like I can't do crazy singing at the end of the set. Like let me do my heavy songs at the end
Yeah.
so I can go hard for it, and then sprinkle the singing throughout.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know like you kind of touched on the like melodic and clean singing on the last album, Narrative, and then
A little bit.
a little bit, and then you have like if people saw online like you did a Blink 182 cover and a Paramore cover just for like a bit of fun. So obviously you can do the cleans, but I think what my question is kind of like in terms of the process of bringing cleans into this album and then thinking ahead of how to do it live, were you a little bit apprehensive of not only I guess putting that into the 156 DNA, but also like we've just spoke about, like being able to pull it off live, like how much can I do here and how can I mix it so that I know that I can actually do this live as well?
I think for this album, I didn't prioritize the doing it live at first, and I was
Right.
like, let's just record some really cool music.
Hmm.
And now, after it's recorded, it's like, all right, god damn it, now I have to do this live. It's definitely moving forward. I'm going to prioritize the live aspect a lot more than I did
Mm.
on people watching, because I definitely just kind of did what I'm capable of doing, but not in a live. Like I can do it obviously, but
Yeah.
it's like in the studio and a live setting is completely different.
Yeah.
It's chill in the studio. It's at your own rate. When you're at a show, it's like we have 25 minutes to play these songs, and I have to do them all perfectly.
Yeah.
So
And if you're on the road for weeks on end, it's just gonna
yeah,
wear you down more and more as the shows go on as well.
absolutely. And like not getting sleep regularly, not eating well. It's touring is fucked,
I
but
had
it is fun. It has its rewards, and like we get to meet so many people. We get to play for so many people that have never heard of us, and win them over if we can, and that makes the world. Like
yeah,
being able to play in Canada or in Washington, and people are singing the lyrics, like that means the world. Like I can't even compare that.
yeah. But the thing is, like, your instrument is you. It's your body, right? Like, if one of the guys there,
Yeah,
like,
nobody understands it. Nobody
yeah,
gets me.
like if one of the guys' guitar string breaks, like, the
Yeah,
fix
they
is
just
you get a
change
new
their
guitar
strings.
string. Whereas your voice, it's not as simple as that. And I had um I had Marcus from Invent Animate on, and he told me like part of what he thinks is like a big kind of thing to consider when you're on the road is like what he eats and drinks, like acid reflux, he said, really fucks up the
Absolutely.
throat. Yeah.
Like drinking coffee before a set, you can't drink. I can't drink any beer or anything carbonated before we play because I get burpy, I get acid reflux,
Right.
heartburn. Like that affects everything with vocals.
Yeah.
And like if I'm trying to hit a high note and I burp, it's like a voice crack. It's horrible.
Yeah. Just need to try and pull it off as like a low. You're just doing a low growl at that point. Try and pull it off like
Yeah, just yeah,
that.
phone it in.
Yeah. I think as well, what helps you guys stand apart, and you did that on narrative, and you brought it into this new album, is these like ominous, disturbing, foreboding, like sense of dread, cinematic, like instruments that go in the background, all these synths and stuff. And I think obviously your eerie spoken word vocals that you do as well kind of adds the impact to like these dark, ominous parts. Are those like bits in the songs, are they kind of inspired by like soundtracks, like film soundtracks and TV and
Absolutely.
video
Yeah.
games and stuff?
Silent Hill, Resident Evil, um, Twin Peaks, especially Twin Peaks. The music in Twin Peaks has a huge influence on people watching as well as the new stuff that we have.
Right.
We're huge David Lynch fans. But yeah, we with the soundscapes and the synths, it adds a lot more to than just the riffs. It adds that darkness, I feel like. And Jim does all of that himself, and he does a great job at painting a picture for me to do it, be able to add vocals to that, because without, I feel like these new songs, especially the synths, are such a huge part in it because it adds so much more to it, I feel, and it gives it that cinematic feeling that isn't just breakdown after breakdown fight riff.
Yeah, like it helps kind of transition part as well, because I know you've got the kind of the instrumental part songs in between the record as well. It just helps songs flow into each other as well, I guess. And especially, I would imagine you do those parts live as well to kind of help you bridge between
Mm-hmm.
songs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know there's like some, we were talking about like film and TV and video game soundtracks and how that influences your music. I saw those. Is it a sample of on the start of like character development? Is that a sample from Ex Machina? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a sample of Oz in Sleep Spikes. Yeah.
Yep.
But I couldn't work out what there's like a very short sample on the end of Unreasonable Doubt. I couldn't work out where that had come from because it's just such a small line.
I forget where Kyle got that from. I'll have to ask him.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
that's fine. Don't you worry,
Sorry.
dude.
But
Hopefully
yeah,
you don't
we
get
have
any like
the Oz one and the other one as well
yeah.
that you mentioned.
Hopefully you don't get any cease and desists from
Yeah,
yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah. Hopefully not. Um, were there any new things that you wanted to try on this record that didn't quite either fit in or just didn't quite work as well as you wanted to, and that you'd maybe, I don't know, return to on maybe the next record or some point in the future?
I don't think so. I think I'm actually, for the first time, happy with an album that we've done. This one, it seems like it feels right.
Right. All happy with it from start to finish on this one.
I am at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and also you got like a few features on there. I think this is the first album where you've had featured artists, is that right?
We no, we had Andrew from I Am on Irrational Pull, as well as Matt from Boundaries on Irrational Pull.
Right.
They're just not in the song titles.
Right.
That was our bad. But uh, we had a dude from Black Sheep Wall on the EP. But this one, yeah, this one was these parts were written for these people intentionally, and
Right.
it worked out perfectly.
So you wrote their parts, you didn't tell them to kind of like free flow it, you wrote it specifically for each
Mm-hmm.
list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So how did they get involved? So you've got Carson from Callous Style Boys, you've got Craig Owens from Drugs and Trey Roberts from Mouth of War. How did they all get involved
Well,
in this?
we met. We've known Carson from the Cowboys for years, but we toured with them as well as Drugs and Burials back last year last year, and that's where we formed a relationship and friendship with Carson as well as Craig. And they, while we were on tour, we already had the album written. We were like, we need some good features,
Hmm.
and they were both willing to do it. And then Trey, we got while in the studio, we were like, we need a fucking feature for this. And we had some other people. It didn't work out. But Trey sent us the recording while we were in the studio, and it monster. It was fucking, it was perfect part.
Yeah. Well, I guess with features, like you always have this idea in your mind of what they're going to do and what they're going to bring to the song, but it's not obviously until they give you back like what they recorded that just gets that full impact from it.
Yeah, when you understand that they get what you were wanted them to do, and like they do execute it perfectly, it's like, fuck yeah, finally, hell yeah, this rolls.
Yeah. Are there any artists you'd love to have on future records that just hasn't panned out just yet, or you're not sure just now?
I'd be willing to work with anybody, honestly. I've listened to so many different artists. I would obviously love to have Mike from Devil Wears Prada, or I shoot for this guy. I'd love to have Ollie Sykes, like fucking
Corey Taylor.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to work with all that.
Yeah. Just put it out into the world, man, and it'll happen sometime.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, also something that's got quite a bit of attention is the creepy artwork that you've got for the album.
Yeah.
Which kind of reminds me of like, I think Aphex Twin, but it also looks like it looks like a creepy like Woody from Toy Story. I don't know if you get that vibe.
Yeah. There's definitely influenced by Aphex Twin. We love Aphex Twin. And the artist is a local buddy. He's a great tattoo artist, and he did it for us. And when he sent it to us, it was supposed that version. He was like, I can do a better version. And we're like, no, we want this one. This one's fucking. It's so unsettling. People love it or they hate it, and I love it. It makes me uncomfy, and it makes me feel something.
Yeah.
So that's why. Yeah.
That's what you want. Like, you don't want something that's middle of the road that no one talks about, and that's the worst. Like, you could have had,
and to look like somebody else's. Like it definitely looks like ours.
Yeah. So what was kind of like the brief you gave him? Then you just wanted a creepy guy on the front cover. Is that it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, basically just Aphex Twin inspired.
Yeah. Would you want to do any Aphex Twin covers, like Come to Daddy or something like that?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, we thought about doing one of Window Liquor, but I don't know. We just didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, if you do it, you've got to kind of try and pull off your version of the video as well.
Yeah. We had a sticker with Kyle's face on it instead of his.
Oh,
with the bikini top.
Yeah. So freaky.
I recently saw that he does like wedding parties now.
Does he?
Yeah, private wedding parties. I saw on Reddit he was doing a private wedding party. Aphex Twin. It looked he had like a projector behind him. It's just him doing music at a private wedding. It was hilarious. At like a VFW. It was hilarious.
I can't even imagine what the kind of party would be like, but I'm interested. I thought it was bold as well that you don't, on the cover, you don't have the album name, you don't have the band name either.
Yeah, I think we just did that too much on the last ones. It was like mostly focused on our name, too much going on. We wanted one image just to be subtle but make a message.
Well, I guess it puts more focus on how creepy the person is on the cover.
Yeah, and it's interpretive, like everybody looks at it differently, like, or they're like, oh, this is, and like some people say like they had no idea it was going to sound like this by looking at the cover, and that's fine by me too, because I don't want to necessarily want to be expected,
Yeah, you want to kind of throw some curveballs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does the character have a name? Have you given him a name?
Yeah, we've been calling him Phillip.
Phillip.
Phillip Watson.
The secret additional member of the band here.
We're working on getting masks made out of him.
You've got to, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I imagine
he's our mascot now.
It won't be long until someone gets him tattooed on him, and then he'll live forever on someone's
It's
back.
already the artist has already the Mikey, the guy that made the cover. He's already gotten somebody that scheduled an appointment to have it tattooed.
Wow.
So that's
Wow.
fucking sweet.
Yeah. There'll be an army of Phillips out there in no time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just give them out at the show, just have everyone wearing the mask, and then they'll just be staring at you, and you'll be freaked out.
We tried to get because we released the album on September 13th. We wanted to get a flash sheet of tattoos made of it, but we didn't have enough time. We got the idea too late. So maybe in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do it further down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else is kind of planned for you guys at the moment? In like for the rest of 2024 and 2025? Are you coming over to the UK or Europe at any point soon?
We sure are. Next April we'll be there.
April, right. I'm gonna mark that down on my calendar.
I can't say who with yet because it's not announced, but it's
Right.
two big metalcore bands. It's gonna be a good show.
Awesome. Can't wait.
But other than that, we have Furnace Fest coming up after this tour that we're on right now, and then a headliner to be announced in January, full US headliner.
Nice. So plenty to look forward to then.
Yeah, it's the first time we've had like a schedule this far ahead, so we're excited.
Yeah. You've got to take care of that voice, man.
I know. Don't I know it?
Thanks very much, Jack. I really appreciate you coming on, having a little chat about people watching. Before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your day off on tour, any final words, anything you want to say or plug? The floor's yours.
Yeah. Just be patient and just keep working. Just be patient because you're doing something right and you know you're doing it right and people keep telling you to keep doing it right. Things will eventually work out.
Wise words, man. Wise words. It's kind of like there's like that tipping point. If you keep doing the right things, eventually things will, go in motion in the right way for you, apparently. But
oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Jack, thanks again. I'll keep an eye out for those UK dates, and yeah, when you're over here, I'll grab you a beer or something.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, man.
No worries, dude. Take care of yourself, and yeah, see you soon.
Rock on.
Bye. And that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in to It's Not a Phase. If you enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Leave a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Follow the podcast on social media, and maybe even join the Patreon or grab some merch from the store. You can find everything that you need at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again. Hopefully catch you on the next one. And remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.